welcome to our respective lecturer, Dr. Azan Nurahani binti Syari, and to all our fellow classmates. Today the three of us are going to present about present perfect tense. So my name is Hasman, the first presenter.
My name is Nazrul, the second presenter.
Hello everyone, I'm Afifi, the third presenter.
So we are going to present about present perfect tense. Alright, so I will cover about problem identification. Okay, so while conducting this research, I have spotted two major problems that normally faced by English learners. Okay, number one is about grammaticality of concept that we need to remember, right? Okay, so plenty of concept, plenty of grammar rules that need to be memorized, that need to be classified, because in learning English, there are a lot of tenses like present tense, present continuous tense, and like what we are going to discover today is present perfect tense. So number two is about past participle. Okay, normally English learner, they often to get confused between past participle and also past tense verbs, because past participle is totally different with past tense verbs. Okay, for example, I give you past tense. For let's say the word eat, past tense it become ate. And then when it comes to past participle, it becomes eaten. So the difference between ate and eaten, some English learners, they confuse. They cannot identify and they cannot differentiate between the use of past participle and also past tense verb. Alright, moving on to the next slide. Okay, so I will tell you about present perfect tense. Okay, present perfect tense is a tense that we use to describe something happened in the past. Okay, remember, something happened in the past but it still happened until now. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, for example, by using present perfect tense, you need to we have regular verbs and also irregular verbs. Okay, for let's say regular verb. Okay, the word bake. Okay, for let's say B-A-K-E. You change into past participle, you just have to add D at the back. Okay. The one that you have that you add D, E, and IED, that is what we call regular verb. Okay, when it comes to irregular verb, there is no any way that you can do other than memorizing. So for irregular verb, you need to memorize and you need to remember. Okay, for let's say the word freeze, F-R-E-E-Z, freeze. So when it comes to past participle, it becomes frozen. Okay, so swim, when it comes to past participle, it becomes swam. So like the last one is fight change into past participle, it becomes fought. Okay, so I will show you the example on how to use. Okay, when do we use present perfect tense? Okay, number one, there are actually three main reasons for using present perfect tense. So I will cover number one. Okay, number one is when we want to talk, as I mentioned before, when we want to talk about something that happened in the past and still happening until now. Okay, for let's say, here is the past, here is now, present, now. So it happens along this way. Understand? Okay, so the example number one, we have known each other since we were in primary school. Sorry. Okay, so we have known. Alright, we have known. So they already know since primary school and still knowing each other until now. That is what I meant by something that happened in the past and still happening until now. Alright, moving on to number two. I have been in Korea since I was a kid. So I have been in Korea means that this particular person already went to Korea since kid until now. Okay, number three. Nadia has learned Japanese for a long time. Means that Nadia already learned that Japanese language and she's still learning Japanese until now. That is what meant by using present perfect tense to describe about something that happened in the past until now. That's it.
Once, I'm going to cover about the second topic of the present perfect tense, where when you can use the present perfect tense. So the second reason why when you can use the present perfect tense is when you describe an event that happened in the past, but the time is not important. For example, like the first example is Bronte has never learned on how to cook. The second example is have you ever tried to speak Arabic before? And the third is, I have watched the series of Harry Potter several times. It means that you have watched for the third example, it means that you have watched the series, but you still rewatch it again until now. Move to the third reasons why when you can use the present perfect tense is when you describe an event that happened in the past, but it repeated. But it depends on the repeated past action. For examples like Blake has taken his shower this morning. The second example is Mom has made cookies for Hari Raya every year. And the third one is I have rode a horse for many times in the temple.
Hello everyone, so now we will proceed with the next section, which is the basic conception of present perfect tense. So as you can see, the box up here is the formula, I will put it that way. It's a formula of how you construct a appropriate sentence of a present perfect tense. So the first thing you need to have is subject and proceed with the verb to have, and the next is past participle. So let's move on to the example. I have killed. You have baked. He has written. She has cut. It has flown. We have reached. And they have fried. And this is one more example. We're using the verb drive. This is the part where you use present perfect tense to create three types of sentences. The first one, you have affirmative, which is in Malay we known as ayat penyata, and we have the negative sentence and how we create questions using present perfect tense. Okay, the first one, I have driven, and negative sounds like I haven't driven, and the question, have I driven? The next example, they have driven. As for the negative sentence, it sounds like they haven't driven, and the questions will have like, have they driven?
We meet again. So I'm going to talk about the factors influence the main problem, which is the mastery of learning a new language. So we found many factors, but we only list about three factors, the main factors. So the first factor is environment. The second is teacher's delivery of the lessons. The third one is the students itself. So move to the first factors, which is the environments around the students. The environments around the students, which is for examples like at home, their parents might not use a new language. So move to the first factors, which is the environment. The environments around the students itself, for examples like when they at home, they talk to their parents, use Bahasa Malaysia. So that move to the second factors, which is the teacher's delivery of the lessons. As for me, that when I have the teachers like they just enter the class and just teach in front without having some discussion or provide some good materials such as the posters. So the third reasons of why the students might not interested in learning a new language is because the problem is within the students itself. They might be lazy to learn a new language. The reasons why the students lack of interest is because they no longer excited to learn the language. The The second one is the lack of motivation to learn, especially from the teachers or their parents. And the third one is the less attention, for example, like from the teachers when that might cause the students to have lack interest in learning.
So hello again everyone, I'll be talking about the solution and recommendation slide, which is the last part of this presentation. So as had been mentioned by Nazrul earlier, he has mentioned about the three main factors that influence the problem, which is environment and delivery of the lesson by the teachers at school, and the lack of interest by the student itself. So the first solution would be on the environment. There will be three main rules that are responsible to overcome the problem. So the first role is being played by parents. So the parents should encourage the children to converse a sentence in English daily at home. So by having a conversation with your friends daily and regularly, talk with your friends or doing probably exercises with your friends, you will at the same time improve your you will drill yourself with the practices and all the exercises, and if God wills, you will be successful in your examination with the flying colors. And the next solution is to overcome the poor delivery of the lesson by the teacher at schools. So the teacher should be more creative in delivering the lesson in class. And this is, I think it's very clear because every teacher needs to be creative in the classroom. They should not be stick to the old and the same traditional method of teaching, but instead, in this 21st century education, students are looking forward to something more new, something more innovative. And the last one is lack of interest. Parents should encourage active learning at home by involving every community of member of the family, by involving the parents, siblings, brothers and sisters to communicate with each other and to help each other in looking for the solution for certain circumstances. And teachers should build a positive learning environment by having a motivation and counseling session with the students who in need and who really need the guidance because they are really poor learners, or maybe there are lack of skills compared to the other students. And teachers should be alert of current issue to tackle and increase the interest of learning.
So there are three factors that influence the students to learn a new language.
And don't be scared or afraid to talk in English with your friends, because that's going to be a very helpful way to improve your speaking skills and conversation skills with your friends.
Yeah, so we hope this could be an inspirational video and very useful for all English learners out there. So last but not least, thank you Dr. Azanurang. Bye.
Bye. Jangan. Bye.
See you again.
Enjoy.